Hello, Rene. How are you doing today?
Hey, Magic.
Good morning.
Hello.
Good
Good
morning.
morning,
How is everything?
good afternoon, good evening. It's
Five
wonderful. It's
o'clock.
beautiful. 5.
It's 5 o'clock afternoon or evening.
Afternoon still. Afternoon still.
Okay.
Um, how are you? How is everything back home?
It's really it's everything is great. The weather is not improving. My back is getting better, so
Good.
I'm still discussing with various doctors what to do next. Should I go
Mhm.
for an operation, or should I go and try to rehab it? It's a challenging decision. It's really something that I need to consider. Yeah.
Yeah. Be
Uh,
Yeah, it's a big decision because you like to climb. Your back is very important for everything. So yeah, it's a big decision. Well, we're
it's a
sending
big
you
decision.
good healing thoughts.
Thank
So,
you. How is Orlando? I
well,
know that you went for the certification for Maxwell, right?
yes. So it technically starts tomorrow. But I'm an alum. So this is actually my third certification event, or it's actually, they don't call it that anymore. New members come and get certified. I'm part of the founding circle, the first 1,000 people that got certified back in 2012. So it goes to show you how long I've been doing this. And I'm part of the mentorship group as well. So I'm an alumni and I'm part of the mentorship group. So I have all sorts of things that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be volunteering as well, which is great. It's a good way to get to see a lot of people. Um, the company, in the case of Clean Canvas Consulting as a company, we have two Maxwell certified team members, and we deliver, gosh, over 25 different content pieces around John Maxwell, teachings, material. One of the newest things, if we have something called a leadership game. So think about Monopoly, but for
Okay.
leadership. And I have the one specifically for sales leadership, since that's really my focus area is sales, and it's in technology and leadership. So it's kind of fun. I've never used it. I am actually hoping to get some volunteers. And if you are willing to learn with me, it's absolutely free. Just send me a direct message and we'll practice playing the sales leadership game. The
You're talking to a couple of people that are already watching us, right? And everybody else that is watching the replay
recording.
later on.
Yes.
If anybody wants to say hello, this is the right moment. We always
Yeah.
like, hellos. It's good to know who's watching us. So if you are watching and you're willing to reveal yourself by saying, "Hey, it's me, Jose Elias or Kenya," or we have sometimes some people that we've never met
New
in
people.
person. It would be great to know. And again, if you want to learn with Renee some new techniques, it's free of charge, so it's the best offer today.
Yeah.
And I would very much encourage you to reach out to her. I always learn from Renee a lot. So Renee, we don't have much time today, right? Because you need to run to the conference.
Yes.
And oh my God, you're freezing a little bit, but that's okay. So we are going to talk about the next law. Um, we are going to talk about the law and the kind of a message that we chose today is lead by example because behavior counts, not the words.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is an interesting law. We see it in every industry and in every circle. We see it in our personal lives and in our work lives. And it's really the organization, your family, your children, everyone is always watching and paying attention. Everyone in the social world, in LinkedIn land, is always watching and paying attention to see if you're consistent, if your behaviors and your words are consistent with the brand that you are projecting, right? And they're also looking at you as a leader, consciously or subconsciously, to imitate, to learn from you, because as human beings, we learn by imitation. So, what have you observed?
I think people sense that whenever there is a disconnect between what you say, whenever you practice what you preach, the message
Hmm.
and the behaviors that you are trying to deliver, it's way more powerful.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen leaders in the past, in my past, in past life, that they were saying something really nice, but at the same time they were doing something else, and people can sense it. So if you're in a leadership position, or you aspire to be in a leadership position, remember, people are super smart. Your employees are super smart, and very quickly they will figure out if you are not consistent between what you do and what
Right.
you say.
Hmm.
They will very quickly go with what you do rather than with what you say.
Yeah.
Uh, Even you might be saying beautiful, you might be telling beautiful stories, saying beautiful words. If you don't follow through, they will figure it out very quickly.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm thinking of examples from my past when I had those managers that were telling me how much they care about me, and how much they are concerned about my well-being, but at the same time they would put a lot of pressure on me that was not really a good pressure, I would say. Okay.
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm thinking about all those people that were, telling me that I'm doing a great job, but then not necessarily rewarding it, or recognizing it in a more public way. So obviously, this consistency between the words and the behaviors is extremely important, because again, people will be following and looking at you. What are the things that you do, not
Yeah.
necessarily what you say.
Yeah, I remember being on many calls and meetings where, particularly sales calls, and where you're doing forecast calls, or you're presenting your end of quarter business results, and let's say the results aren't the greatest. And I would observe a lot of leaders that would say that, they stood for respect and nurturing and a coaching type of style. Yet here they are in a meeting of 25, 30 people, and they are picking on that employee or that subordinate in a very derogatory, humiliatory, like humiliating the person. The results are the results, and there could be a lot of reasons why the results are the results. The technology
Mhm.
industry is very complex. We've seen this week and this past couple of weeks, a lot of them announcing their quarter end results. There's a lot of things that go into preparing a good forecast and into really achieving numbers that, honestly, if the person is doing a poor job, the moment to do the coaching is not, or the moment to reprimand, if you have to do that, is not in the middle of a call with 35 people. That is not consistent with saying, hey, I'm an emotive leader. I'm an empathetic leader. I provide psychological safety. I coach my employees. So to me, those were the very clear examples of cognitive dissonance where your words and your behaviors were completely misaligned, right? And that has such a negative ripple effect across the organization. Because the other people learn from that and they say, well, if she or he is doing it, it's okay for me to do it. So they go do it. And then it permeates that behavior of hostility in the organization. right? So when things are
Correct.
going wrong, the employee is not going to ask for help, right?
I also want to give some good examples, maybe from my own
Yes.
personal from my personal stories, Renee, because I've
Yes.
seen bad behavior, but maybe some tips for the current and future managers. What I would for sure do. I
Mm-hmm.
remember with my previous employer, we had the mandatory trainings and the mandatory trainings. There was a standards of business
Mm-hmm.
conduct training that you had to
Mm-hmm.
take, and you had to take the exam.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I said it's important topic for me always to my
Yep.
team because I really believe that
Mm-hmm.
many people take mandatory trainings and they postpone them and they postpone them, and then 5 minutes before the deadline they try to do that. Then everybody is
Mm-hmm.
trying to do that, and the system is not getting, or there is this kind of a one time that you forgot your password and you cannot log in, and you're late with
Yeah.
everything. So what I took as a really thing that I told my team always, so many years, I always told my team, standards of business conduct is a super important topic for me.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever it was announced, I would take it the same day or the
First.
day after.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, late as the day after, just take it off the list, and then I would send my certificate around to my organization and say, look, it's an important topic for me. That's why I'm not waiting for the last minute to take it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was extremely proud, um, because after a couple of years, of working within the organization, I went and the another training was announced, or kind of a required
Mm-hmm.
mandatory training was announced, and I went and I've done it. While doing it, I have already received a couple of messages from my team saying, Magic, we know that this is important for you. I'm done. I finished. And I felt like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, this is a kind of a situation when you say it's important for you, you
Right.
reinforce that with a behavior, you kind of demonstrate the same behavior, and people see that and respect that, and then they are building on top of that. They are mimicking that. They are taking the example from you, and they are really following this thing. So if there's a mandatory training and you
Yeah.
are the leader, it's a really great thing for you. It's a tip, free of charge as well. Do the
Yeah.
training instantaneously, send the message around. It will be much more important for your team when they see that you've done it. You say it's important, and then you prioritize it on top of your very busy calendar. People will
Mm-hmm.
recognize that you are super consistent between your words and the actions.
Yes.
I've done exactly the same story with the Voice of the Workforce. The
Mm-hmm.
Voice of the Workforce was an annual survey done through all the employees. Okay, um, and I always paid a lot of attention to that because that's anonymous, so you get a lot of information from it. Okay, uh, and I always said to my team, first of all, it's super important for me. It's not mandatory; it was voluntary, but I always took it, always.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, when I took it, I was very honest
Mm-hmm.
about good things, but also about bad things that I felt they needed to be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
the thing that I always wanted to do was, when the results were announced, I wouldn't just make a call and just say, hey, this is it, and we need to skip it over. But it was something that we really invested as an organization in, and to try to understand what is the feedback from the team. What are people doing it? What are people seeing? What is the pushback? And again, I respected the privacy, so I never wanted to know who exactly said that Magic is a bad guy, because everybody is entitled to their opinion. Okay,
Right.
but I wanted to see the reason, and I wanted to work on improving on that recommendation or feedback. And
Mm-hmm.
again, miracle happened, because for the majority of my years as a manager, I had a 100% or 99% participation rate in
Participation.
this. in this survey, and I was extremely proud and happy of my team, because that means that they wanted to take the time out of their calendar, even though the training was not mandatory, uh, to spend some time and give me a very honest feedback. And many times we found out things that were really worth looking at and improving. So that was so I think those are two great stories, Rene, from my
I agree.
personal experience of, you say it's important, you do it first. You do it and you
Mhm,
just tell people that you've done it, so they see that it's not only you telling them, it's also you doing it, right?
mhm, mhm. Yeah. Well, and sometimes, you don't even have to say anything. Sometimes people start imitating a behavior, right? That you've never, out loud said, this or that is important to me. People just behave in a high integrity way, or in a way that they've seen you behave, um, because you have modeled the way. I'm going to give you an example. I am right now doing a certification course for a new assessment tool for
Hmm.
coaching, and this is more for senior executives, and it's called the Life Inventory Assessment. And Maurice Thibodeau is our uh, he's actually the creator of the assessment, along with his partner, and he's been teaching us in the certification. Last night we had the class, and what he was doing is we had different people kind of going through a session on where we would read and interpret the assessment results, and we would pretend that we were the client as we were practicing, right? But before we did that, we studied different videos that Maurice had recorded for us. And naturally, after repetition and after time, all the different people that are in this course, there's 12 of us, we are repeating the language. We are using similar techniques. We are there's a phrase that he uses, radical compassion. And we're all starting to use the radical compassion, right? And similar things. But again, we're learning and we're coaching each other based on how we see him do the exercise, right? It's actually fascinating because it's almost like a subconscious process in many ways.
Yes. So everybody out there, and there are quite a few people I see 15 people watching us.
Say
Nobody said
hello to.
hello to me. Nobody said hello to me. And
Yeah, I
I don't
think
know.
they don't like you or me anymore. They do
If
show
you
up
guys,
to see us, but they don't want to talk to us.
uh, it's nice. Everybody out there, if you have questions or you want to say hello or you have questions, feel free to ask. We see in a queue whenever you're sending us a message, and we
Yeah.
always like to interact. Maybe Jose Elias is not on the phone today because he's always
Yeah.
asking a lot of questions and making valuable comments. Anyway, uh, I know that you need to run to the session. So I'm gonna share and remind everyone,
Ooh,
because you might want to take a screenshot of this, or think about this.
make it big. I
Make
love
it
this
big.
picture. I love this picture. A reminder to our audience that March is in the US Women's History Month. And I loved when this picture came up because you can see that it's a strong entrepreneurial or professional woman, setting an example and teaching her daughter, and her daughter really imitating what mom is doing. And she's raising another bright and assertive woman in in the professional arena. So I love this picture, particularly for Women's History Month. So very exciting. Thank you, Magic.
Yes. So remember, guys, people see what people do what people see. You know, they will look at you as a leader, especially the more senior you are, the more the example you become for them.
Mhm.
Okay, and if you want to see certain behaviors from people, your behavior will model those behavior. It will bring the right actions. So you need to do the right actions. You need to kind of create a certain environment, and then people will be following that
Mhm.
topic after you. It's a kind of a, I want to say, I don't know, um, a visual art
Yeah.
where where leaders' actions create a picture of what is possible, and people will be
Yeah.
following that direction.
Yeah, I
No
love that.
problem.
And before we go, Magic, I want to that reminded me about again diversity and inclusion and equity topics that we have talked about often. But that's also why representation matters, right? Because when people see that someone that looks like them or speaks like them have achieved something that maybe they never thought was possible, then they know that it is possible, right? And again, that translates really well with this law, right? It connects really well with this law, right?
Yeah. In 2 days, we're gonna have International Women Day.
Hmm.
All the managers, you're gonna send some good news to ladies, some best wishes. I know. When you will
Hmm.
do that, think about the law of the picture, and think
Yeah.
about how when is the last time that you promoted your female colleague, when you recognized her and
Hmm.
encouraged her to step up and do more, uh, or recognize some significant contribution that she has done to the organization.
Yeah.
Do it this Friday, but do it at least one Friday a month moving
Yeah.
forward. That
Yeah.
will that will tell ladies, that will tell women that you really respect your words, that your words and your actions are in sync and integral.
Yes.
Agreed, Rena?
Agree, right? Talent comes in many colors, shapes, sizes, genders, and it is important that we see everyone and we see all of their contributions, but also let them know. So,
Correct.
thank you very much, everybody. And keep watching the LinkedIn feed for all the wonderful content that's coming out this week from the International Maxwell Conference. And next week, I'm going to be in Las Vegas at the
Ah,
Channel Partners Expo. I know Magic can't come. He was coming, but he can't come because now he needs to take
okay.
care of his health, which is the right priority, Magic. So,
Yes, it
yes.
was. I empowered my wife to make a decision for that. Yes.
Yes,
Thank you
perfect.
so much.
Last week,
Speak to you later.
love empowerment. Yes, so good job. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.